Hey, what's up, you guys? Happy Monday. I know so many of you don't like Mondays, but I love Mondays, right? They are the beginning of a brand new week, and the opportunities are absolutely endless, right? So today I'm super excited because I'm going to do things a little bit differently, right? So I know I come on here with content and talk a lot about how you can improve your health and find optimal health and reach your health and wellness goals while you're being super busy running a business, and how important it is that you need to do that and find balance. Well, I'm excited about today because I'm going to do things a little bit differently. I'm going to give you guys some other people's perspective. I'm going to start interviewing some people so you can not just hear from me, but also hear from some other successful people who have built businesses, who believe in the power of focusing on health and wellness and balance in doing so, and just give you a little bit more inspiration from someone other than myself, because I also may or may not be starting a podcast. And by may or may not, I mean will be. So this is going to be the first episode, and I'm super excited because I have a good friend of mine who's coming on, and so I'm going to invite him on right now. His name is Shawn McBride, and I am super pumped to have him on here with me. So I am just going to bring him into the... Hey, are you there? Here he is. What's up?
Hey, you.
Hey, Shawn.
You
How's it going?
Perfect. It's going great over here. How you doing?
Good. I am doing fabulous. Okay, I am so excited to have you on today. I just shared with everybody that I'm getting started on this new journey, kind of sharing other people's story and bringing them inspiration from the outside, from people like yourself who are successful in your business and who understand and believe in the importance of balancing health and wellness in doing so. How does that sound?
Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be here. It's a
Pretty
great
good?
topic. Yes.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, before we start talking to Shawn, I'm going to read you a little bit of his background so we know who we're talking to. Our Shawn McBride, affectionately called by his fans the Our Shawn, is the host of the Future Done Right show and a business strategist focused on the future of business. Ooh. With a grounding as a corporate lawyer, where he still to this day helps clients with issues related to the ownership and control of their business, things like partnerships, agreements, mergers, capital raise transactions, and contract negotiations. Shawn has the grounding to help clients build and execute effective plans for their business's future. He has worked in the big law firm setting and has seen the health costs that a lack of balance can cause. In his business strategy work, he encourages his clients to find their way to do business differently, and thinks that everyone should find a way to balance health and other concerns into their business plans.
Yes.
Welcome, Shawn. That is
Thank you.
awesome.
Happy to be here.
That is so cool. Okay, so I know I just read a little bit about your bio, but I would love to hear in your words kind of like what it is that you do, and all that great stuff.
Yeah, so I'm a business plan guy, if you had to really boil it down, pretty simple. So I help people figure out what they're doing with their business plan and execute that business plan. It takes me a lot of different directions. My core business for a long time is being a corporate lawyer. People come to me and I set up partnership agreements, I do mergers, help them with capital raise, all that kind of thing. And then I started speaking a lot about the future of business. So I have a YouTube channel on the future of business, and we get into what trends are happening, what's developing, what the future is. And then we help. And then I get called in to speak or to consult with people about, how do we get our sales teams going? How do we manage our time? How do we get things done? So build, execute business plans. That's my whole world.
That is awesome. Well, you sound
Yeah.
super busy.
I keep me very busy, and you
Very
know
busy.
that, right? I'm always spinning this or that, and I've got a lot of different things flying around. It
Yeah.
keeps me active, keeps things interesting. So
Yeah, such
yeah,
is the life of an entrepreneur, right? I feel like people are very much focused on doing what all they can to serve their audience. I actually had the privilege of being on Shawn's show when I first started implementing my corporate wellness side,
yeah,
and we talked a little bit about things and have watched some of his episodes about the future trends, and it's just so incredibly interesting. And I know firsthand that you're a huge advocate of like building relationships as well when it comes to business and sort of like working together on stuff, right?
yeah. I'm a big fan of that. I think we can all do more together than we can do individually. So I think it's important that we figure out who we pair off with, how we can add more value. I mean, at the end of the day, right? That's it. How do you add value to your clients? How do you add value to those around you? And often you add more value by getting more people involved or to pair your talents with other people. So,
Yeah.
you know, you and I have had several conversations on that. You know, and there's ways
Yeah.
to bring things together in a way that makes sense and create synergy. So,
Exactly. You find somebody who kind of complements what you have and you kind of share off that and just help people even more. That's awesome. Yeah, okay. So having somebody like you on the show who's super successful and just really involved in a lot of things, I am hoping is going to help inspire other people who are on that journey to see how important it is and that it's possible from someone who has done as much as you have. So I'd like to touch on kind of the last part of your bio because this is a super interesting like perspective. I talk a lot about like firsthand from personal experience how people can go about maintaining their health and building optimal health and wellness when it comes to staying busy as an entrepreneur, business owner, running a business and stuff like that. But your perspective is super interesting and unique because you've seen it from the other side. So when you say you've seen the health costs that a lack of balance can cause through working in the big law firm side, can you talk a little bit about, like maybe elaborate on that a little bit more?
yeah, sure. I mean, you know, so the world of big law firms, it probably applies to big accounting firms and a lot of the Fortune 500 companies. You know, it's get things done, right, and create value for the clients.
Mhm.
The problem is, you know, it's often a short-term perspective, right? It's, you know, what have you got out today? Get this deadline done. And I watched it firsthand. I was a lot heavier when I worked at big law firms, you know, because you eat more, you go to nice dinners, a lot of
Yeah.
alcohol, you know, like all these things that are not great for your health. And then you're at your desk, right? So you're at a
Yeah.
desk most of the time. You're not getting exercise mixed in and you're eating and drinking the wrong things. And people do this for some people do it for decades.
Hmm.
You know, you can know the toll that will have on you over time, right? So you got to
Right.
break that pattern. That was one of the reasons I kind of started my own business and left is because I watched, you know, everybody was fighting with putting on too much weight, not being able to have a healthy lifestyle, balance issues, with limited exceptions. Most people were having some difficulty with something in that range.
Right.
So,
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people watching are in the same boat. You know, they probably have a lot of demands on their plate. Maybe they're owning a business, running a business. They have a lot of executive responsibilities. Like you said, you're at your desk, you're going from place to place, you're on calls, you're going out to eat, you're like running from here and there. And you're like, okay, so where is my time to like sit back and breathe and take care of myself? And so sometimes like you end up with kind of the issues that you were speaking about, you know, gaining weight, a lot of anxiety, some stress, overwhelm, overwork.
mhm,
And today, even with healthcare costs, like you see the crazy number that is spent on like work related stress issues and work related anxiety and burnout issues. You know, it's just kind of crazy that
right.
that has such like a prevalent thing in our society right now, but it's very common and a lot of people I'm sure are feeling this. Um, cool. So then kind of talk to us about like what happened when you transitioned from that and maybe like you overcame that struggle and you started to work towards like improving that aspect of your life. Kind of what
Yeah.
did you do and how has that improved your business now?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of intentionality. You have to build your, and I talk about do business differently. People see I'm wearing the unusual coat, right? If anybody looks at my stuff on a desk,
Yeah.
they'll see I wear a lot of weird clothing, and it's a part of a message of do business differently, be unique and different. So I think, you know, those that are successful, you want to build that into the process, right? How am I going to be unique and different? How do I
Hmm.
build this business that works for me?
Right.
And that's different answers for different people, right? It's not always the same thing. You know, some people are going to want to go to the gym every morning. Some people want. I like to be outdoors. I like outdoor physical activity. That's me. You
Same.
know, don't put me in a gym.
Yeah.
You know, build the time into your schedule so that happens every week, right?
Hmm.
And be intentional about what you eat, right? What foods do you have around you? I find having my own business makes it easier for me to make better food choices, you know, and not get caught up in a lot of the traps. So
Yes.
because I'm running things, because I can determine where I want to go, you know, I cut out a lot of lunch and dinner meetings because you end up eating bad food generally, right? Most restaurants
Right.
you can't control what's coming on there. Even if you try to order something healthy, you know, back in the kitchen they've poured butter on it or done whatever they've done to make it taste better to keep the customers
Right.
coming back.
Yeah.
So you know structure your meetings the right way. Think about where you're at. That can be a big difference, you know. And for some
Okay.
people, you know, some people want to do lunch and dinner meetings. That's fine, but then you got to have a way to get the exercise or the way to get those calories back off you.
Right.
But the beauty of running your own business, you have a little more. You can be more intentional and you can build that balance into things.
Absolutely. That's a really, really great perspective. You said a lot of awesome things there. Okay, so what I'm kind of hearing is kind of, I guess, once you got over that hump of sort of like the stress of building up your business now that you're running it for yourself, you found a lot more freedom to actually make those choices. Is that
Yeah,
right?
I think that's
Yeah,
definitely a big piece of it, right? Definitely for me, now, at some point, once you get your business established to a certain level, things are running a certain way, then you can start to be very intentional, right? Like we're going to spend our time on this, we're not going to spend our time on this. This is a priority,
right.
that's not a priority. Start getting better at saying no to customers, and that
Yes.
frees up a lot of time when you can start having more perfect matches. So a lot of different things you can do to build that business. And then once you have the business built, then you can start saying, hey, I'm not going to do the unhealthy things. I'm going to structure my business around the healthy things.
Yes, that's awesome. So many great things. Okay, so you guys take notes. This is super inspiring. So, another thing that I'd like to point out that you spoke about that I talk a lot about, you had mentioned two things that like really stuck in my mind that are super important. One is being intentional, and
Mm-hmm.
the other one is prioritizing. So, two of those things are super huge. I get questions about all the time, and I have one here that says, a struggle is being consistent. So whenever you've built up your business, you're taking a step back, you're really becoming hyper aware of your perfect balance. Because like I feel like in the business sector, like when people talk about work-life balance and stuff, well, that's never ever really the case. Like nothing is ever leveled. It's always like ebbing and flowing one way. If you want to focus on your business, you're going to have to let things slide at some point. But I feel like the key in what you're pointing to here is that you need to become aware of your demands and how much you have on your plate. That way whenever you do start becoming out of balance, you know when to start sort of rebalancing and focusing more on your health and kind of maybe dialing back other areas of your life.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of the term work-life integration, and I thought I
Integration.
invented that.
Yeah.
I thought I invented that term, but it turns out other people had already. So
Yeah.
it came to me one night when I was sleeping. I'm like, we have to integrate work and life. We can't, we don't have this balance. Like you have to make the two work together.
We'll give you
And
the credit for it though.
yeah, and so I mean that's part of my perspective, right? Is
Yeah.
integrating work and life. How do we make work and life work together simultaneously? And so that's it, right? How do you get your clients served? Do the things you need to develop for the future, keep in touch with people, manage relationships, and get your exercise in and eat healthy, right? So you
Yeah.
got to figure out how to balance that, right? And Patrick Dickerson just commented here. He said travel almost always derails me, right? Travel's a big problem because it throws off that routine and that schedule.
Yeah, it
That's
does.
one of the reasons I'm a lot more selective about travel. I made a decision about a year ago that I will still travel for business. I'm just highly selective about it. I travel less. I do more
Mm-hmm.
from my home office. I do a lot of video. My video show has become a big part of my business and getting the word out there and keeping in touch with people. So
Mm-hmm.
I moved my business where I didn't have this many disruptions. So I'll still travel if the right conference calls me and the fee's appropriate and it's worth traveling. Yeah, I'll go travel.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not traveling just for the sake of traveling, and I'm very intentional about minimizing the amount of travel because I know it
Right.
disrupts that schedule and it disrupts the other activities.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. Super inspiring. See, it is possible. Another huge thing that I took away from that is like, aside from being super intentional, is that it's okay to listen to yourself. Like being really aware and listening to your body and making those decisions is always okay. You can always prioritize yourself when it comes to like your schedule and traveling and make decisions to maybe cut things off or dial back on things like Shawn's talking about traveling if you see fit, right? So we can also learn from here that, and I heard you talk about actually scheduling things in, and that's a really great point. So being intentional, prioritizing, and actually scheduling things in, because I know as business people, like we thrive off of schedule. Some people thrive off of structure and schedule, which is why I think traveling and maybe even the weekends like throw us off a little bit because there is that lack of structure and really like not a lot of options to like hold us into that healthy routine. So share with us, since you talked a little bit about scheduling, share with us maybe like your favorite like self-care tactic. Like are you a cycler? Are you an outdoor hiker? Do you, like kind of what do you enjoy to do when you have time?
Yeah, outdoor hiking or long walks, particularly, in nature environments are big for me. So I love
Yeah.
being in that. The other thing I love is just working on stuff,
Mhm.
So I have a couple antique cars. I've got property. So, stop and, you're go cut a tree down and drag the limbs out, and just, I mean, you're actually physically working with the land, right? And so some of that
Yeah.
type of activity will keep you in good shape. I mean, it's not going to the gym, but it's physical activity. It'll get you sweating. It'll get you moving. It'll wear your muscles out.
Yeah.
Putting parts on a car, depending on what type of project you're doing. That can be very physical, it can be strenuous.
Hmm.
So, I'll do a lot of those types of activities. It's like, what needs to be done? How can I? And for me, it's usually connecting with nature somehow, right? Either working on the land or going out and enjoying it,
Hmm.
hiking or going out somewhere. So, for me, it's getting out and enjoying the outdoors. Put me in a
Sure.
gym, I get bored real fast.
Oh, agreed,
Yeah.
agreed. And so many studies show that, like, just in itself, being outside is such a huge mood booster. Like, if it's sunny, you get that vitamin D, just like being in earth and grounding in nature. It's really just like calming.
Yeah.
So, and another thing that you said is like going to be super important and applicable to business people and those traveling and always on the go is that I feel like a lot of people kind of get stressed out when they don't find that they have like hours to actually go into the gym and do formal exercise. But I
Right.
love that you mentioned like it doesn't have to be formal exercise. Like you can still get moving and do activity like by doing things you love, and it doesn't have to be considered formal exercise. Like working on cars, moving stuff, even like gardening, walking your
Yeah.
dog and doing that kind of stuff. Like it's not technically formal exercise, but it's still activity, and that still counts as like movement towards your self-care.
Right.
Yeah, that
Exactly.
is awesome.
Yeah, no, and then, weekends and stuff, I'll often, I'll be in an area and, I'll go hike and I'll go tour, and I'll do it usually on foot, right? I'm not one to drive the car from place to place, and, I was out of town a couple weekends ago, and I think it was 18,000 steps or something I did in a day, but, just
Wow.
because I went and just was touring,
Yeah.
and checking things out and, sightseeing and going to museums and stuff. And next thing you got 18,000 steps, right?
Yeah.
Um, and so for me, the weekends a lot of times look like that, and that integrates into my travel. I like taking in the local scenery, and I like touring, and so when I'm in a tourist area, I'll often turn it into a walking day trip rather than, drive around and drink all day, So
Yeah.
just
Right.
just that little tweak in how you spend your time can make a huge
Absolutely.
difference in the health. And, I feel better too as I get into I've had a couple cycles in my life, where I've been healthier or I've started to gain weight and all that. So when you're on the good side of this curve, your energy level gets better, you're more
Yes.
active, you want to do more things, that allows you to do more, you burn more calories, you feel better. And it really perpetuates itself. So you
Yes.
want to stay on the good end of that cycle.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. The better you take care of yourself, the better you can take care of everything that's been thrown at you, right? The better you can deal with that stress and anxiety of building and maintaining a business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. See, okay, you guys, I am super inspired. I hope you guys are super inspired that, this work life wellness integration thing is completely possible from other people who have done it and are doing it and are living that sort of image and personifying that message. So, okay, being within the speaking world, and I know there's probably a lot of people that are, toying with the entrepreneurship and the speaking. Sort of aside from what we talked about, do you like what would be your one sort of like key that you would want people to take away from everything that we've spoken about?
Well, I think just figure out what's a priority to you, right? And then, if you I think Facebook may have hung up a little bit there for us for a
There we
second.
go. You're back. I
Okay.
found you.
All right.
All right, guys. I think we're having some Facebook issues. Can you hear me?
I, I just saw you move your lips. I hear you now. Yes, Facebook's lagging for
Ah,
some
there we
reason. Yeah.
go. Okay. So
Yeah.
hopefully, if you were talking about the one takeaway, and I heard just like learn to
Set,
prioritize, right?
set your priorities, and health should
Yeah.
be a high priority, right? You got to live with this body. It's going to keep you alive. It's going to keep you doing the things you need to do. So I would say, make that a high priority. You're taking care of your health and yourself,
For
and
sure.
then, use that to take care of your business.
Absolutely. What a great, great, great message. I believe that it is the priority. So I really appreciate that you came and shared all that with us. Before we go, I call my sort of brand, my community, the Live It lifestyle, because I believe health is a priority and that you should be living that every day. And I'd like to end each of these with asking the wonderful person I have on here to kind of let me know with this question, what are you doing to live it today?
I'm very intentional, right? I mean, I'm passionate about business, but I also need to take care of myself. So I make those two fit together. We talk about integration. That's my world, right? Is I want to build people's business plans. I want to build my businesses. Very intentional about making that happen. But as part of that, I need to live a lifestyle, food and exercise, et cetera, wise, where I can continue to be that strength and to build that long term presence.
Great. So basically living what you're preaching. Good.
Absolutely.
That is amazing. That is good. Just set that example, Shawn. You're a rock star.
I love it.
All right,
Thank
you
you.
guys. Thank you
Love
so, so, so much for watching. Hopefully this inspired you to take some action or maybe reprioritize your health. I'm going to have some other guests on here that are kind of more inspiring you and encouraging you to, prioritize yourself over everything else. Especially if you're trying to start a business or change the world, you have to be the best version of you in order to give the best version of you. So before we let him go, Shawn, one more time, kind of let us know where everyone can find you on social or website or whatever in case they
Yep.
have questions or want to get in contact.
Sure. LinkedIn, R. Shawn McBride. Just look me up. You'll find it. So LinkedIn.com/in/the letter R SHAWN McBride. Feel free to follow me or if there's a deeper connection, send me a connection request. R. Shawn McBride fans and audiences on Facebook. And then go check out my YouTube channel, Future Done Right. A little different tone there, but we're talking about what the future of business is, future of the economic world. Great lessons there for people to start tweaking their businesses to go where they want to go. So subscribe to the YouTube channel, ring the bell so you get the notifications, and we'll be bringing you great stories and content to really get you thinking about the future of business and what you're going to do there. So
That's awesome. Yes, I always stay on top of future trends. Great. Well, thank you so much, Shawn. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for watching. And as you kind of stay tuned for future episodes, remember, I'm always going to be asking, what are you doing to live it today? So see if you can answer that question for yourself today and have a fabulous rest of your Monday. Thanks, you
enjoyed it.
guys. Thanks, Shawn.